Hey everybody, I wanted to show you guys how to make a immune boosting soup. As we get into the colder fall and winter months, we're going to see an increase in cold, flu, and now coronavirus. So it's extremely important to use food to help improve your fighting chances against any of these viruses. So what I'm making today is a very bright and it has tons and tons of vitamin C and different flavonoids and different vitamins and minerals. So I'm making a butternut squash, apple, and carrot soup. Okay, so I have fruits and vegetables, and I'm also going to include garlic to kind of give it a depth of flavor and some onion. And this soup is going to be incredibly warming. And it's a creamy soup, and it's not even with cream, but it has that velvety texture because you're using the butternut squash. Okay, so I am gonna do like snippets of videos and then kind of fuse them together. I don't have a filmer today. But I wanna show you guys kind of how to cut everything up and what sizes it should be, and then how to prepare the soup itself, okay? So I went ahead and I sliced my butternut squash, and what I did was I poked holes around the exterior and then microwaved it for about 2 minutes so that it got a little bit tender. And then where I had scored it with the fork, where I poked the holes, I took the knife and cut it in half. I then took a spoon and scooped out all the seeds and threw those away. So right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to create a base for myself to be able to cut this. So I've kind of cubed it up a little bit, and I'm just going to kind of take the skin off as best I can. You can also use a vegetable peeler to take the skin off, but I'm just cutting it. Just be really, really careful as far as your knife skills go. So we're gonna cut it into cubes. So I have about 2 cups of diced or cubed butternut squash. So another way that you could do this would be to microwave it all the way so that it really does get tender and cooked, and then kind of scoop it out so you didn't have to cut the peel off. And I'm gonna try and find some YouTube videos on different ways to get the flesh out of a squash for you. So look for those. So here are my ingredients. So I have my butternut squash. I have some different variety of carrots. I've got just a regular carrot, a white carrot that kind of looks like a parsnip, and then I have this red carrot, okay? And then I have 1 diced apple. I have about a half of a large onion just chopped, and then I did 3 garlic cloves. So now we're gonna saute all this up, and I'm gonna show you how to make a soup out of it. Okay, I am sauteing my onion up first alone in my Dutch oven here, my Dutch oven that I use for almost everything. I love it. And I've got about 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil in there. So I've got it on medium-high heat. I'm not looking to brown these. I'm just looking to cook them a little bit so that they get translucent. I have not added my garlic yet because garlic cooks very fast and can burn easily, so I don't want to add that quite yet. Down to about medium heat because I just put my garlic in here, okay? And all I'm doing is I'm waiting until I can smell the garlic, which I can smell it, so that was just a few seconds. And then I'm going to add the rest of all my vegetables. And what that's going to do is it's going to transfer the heat from just the onions and the garlic to the other vegetables, so there's less a chance that the garlic will burn, okay? Because if there's one thing that tastes really bad, it is burnt garlic. All right, so what I'm doing is I heard a famous chef say giving everything its time in the sun. So I'm giving these vegetables their time in the sun, or the heat of my pot, in order to kind of bring their flavor out, okay? So they're getting kind of like, you know, coated with the olive oil, and they're having a chance to release their juices, all right? So as you can see, I have some seasonings in there. I have some spices, and this is super important, especially as we move into those colder months. We want to add things to our soup to kind of rev up our digestion system and our immunity. So what I have added is about 2 pinches of cayenne pepper, and I've also added about 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger, about 1/4 teaspoon of ground pepper, and then maybe 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now I am sure, because I like things flavored, that I'm going to add some more salt in a little bit, but you know, you can always salt more, you can't ever salt less. So I'm going to let this cook a bit, and then we're going to see how much salt we need. So what I'm going to do next is put my vegetable stock in. Okay, so I have some organic vegetable stock, and the reason why I'm using vegetable stock is just because I want this to be a vegetarian lunch. I try to only eat meat 1 meal a day, and try to go vegetarian, you know, all the way 1 day a week. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to eat dairy or eggs. It just means meat, okay? So, anyway, I have my vegetable stock in here. A chicken broth would also work if you wanted to do that. All right, so what I'm going to do is, as you can see some of the spices floating around, and it just covered everything. So that was like the perfect amount. So 4 cups of vegetable stock to all my fruits and vegetables. All right, so what I'm going to do to this is I'm going to bring it up to a boil, and then I'm going to take it down to a simmer, and I'll show you how to do that as soon as it gets up to the boil. It is coming up to a boil. As you can see, there are bubbles breaking the surface, and that indicates that it is at boiling temperature, which is 212. And so it's going to continue to get hotter and hotter, and what would happen is it would boil up. So we want to be gentle with soups. So what we're going to do is, I'm turning it down right now. I have it turned down to about low, okay? And what that's going to do is it's going to allow it to simmer. All right, so a simmer is not a full rolling boil. It's just this little kind of like tamping, bubbling, okay? So this is a good looking little simmer here. All right, so we're gonna simmer the soup, and I'm actually going to tent the lid so we don't get so much evaporation. I'm letting the steam escape so it doesn't, you know, come to a full boil, but that's gonna keep a lot of the liquid in the soup. So we're gonna let this simmer until the vegetables and fruit are tender. Okay, so this is what it looks like about 30 minutes later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the heat off, and I'm actually, ow, that hurt. I'm going to move it. Okay, I'm going to take it off the heat, and I have an immersion blender. Okay, now you can let this cool and put it in a regular blender or a Ninja and puree it that way, but I actually kind of like this little tool. So you just kind of pop it around. The key is to make sure that you don't hold it like this, because it'll splatter everywhere, okay? So see how that kind of splattered? So what I'm gonna do is just gonna take a couple minutes. I'm gonna go around, splatter, and I'm going to puree this up. So I'll let you see what it looks like when it's done. Yeah, look at that. Look how super creamy that is. And there's no dairy whatsoever in it. It's just really delicious. So I seasoned it with a little bit more salt, but there's a sweetness from the apple and there's heat from the chili pepper. And then, you know, kind of a depth of flavor from the ginger and also a little bit of heat from that. And it's just a really creamy, warming, good for you soup. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about the soup and why I added ginger to it. So ginger, garlic, and onions are very high in antioxidants. And what antioxidants do is they combat free radicals. And so every day we come into contact with free radicals, and that could be from pollution or processed foods or chemicals that we put on our body, or, you know, shampoo, smoke, alcohol, all kinds of things contain free radicals. And free radicals kind of get into our system and create unhealth. Okay, so they get into our bodies and like to mess things up. So antioxidants get in there and combat these free radicals. And so it is extremely important for your body to incorporate antioxidants. And so like bright foods are normally ones that you go to, like blueberries and blackberries and strawberries. But these root vegetables like onions, garlic, and ginger have special properties that are super, super good for your immunity. So I wanted to incorporate those into the soup to kind of like team up with the vitamin C powerhouse of the butternut squash and the carrot. And then there's so much fiber in this soup too, because we cooked down the whole fruits and vegetables. And so that's going to be really, really nourishing for our digestive system. And we know that a healthy digestive system can help our whole body be healthy, and so that it can fight illness. So this whole soup is about creating nourishment and kind of like supplementing things. It's like a super vitamin in a bowl. I got a little bit right there. So what you could do with this soup, because you saw that it was really creamy, was in order to make it more satisfying, incorporate something with a crunch to put on top of it or on the side of it. So you could get like a whole grain cracker or something like that. Or what I really like to do is I like to take roasted either pumpkin seeds or roasted salted sunflower seeds and sprinkle those on the top. I also love roasted, salted, peppered cashews, and you can chop those up and put them over top. And that's going to kind of give you a little bit of protein too. But that crunch is really important for your system because it will signal your kind of brain that, okay, I'm being fed. Sometimes when we're on a liquid diet, we don't feel as full. And a lot of that is because the signal from the chewing is not there. So if you can put something on top of the soup to give you that crunch factor, you're going to feel much more satisfied. And then it's also going to supplement whatever you're eating with additional fiber, protein, and nutrients.